Hey folks, what's up? We're going to talk about racking the pistol from the front, if it'll get you killed, if Bruce Lee will come down from heaven and drop kick you right in the face if he catches you racking this pistol from the front. It's not how he intended. It's not how Sir Jeff Cooper intended it to be ran, and you shouldn't do it because it'll get you killed in the streets. For sure. So, a lot of tactical instructors that haven't put the time in to get their pistol craft to a level that requires them to dive deep into every possible technique, every possible manipulation, every possible concept out there to get better, faster, and more accurate with a handgun. Those instructors, they haven't went balls deep into this handgun to figure out the merits and the pros and cons of every individual technique. So what they do is, instead of going balls deep into every possible technique, every concept, every principle, they dismiss the principles that they know nothing about. They dismiss the techniques that they haven't mastered. They dismiss all the stuff, all that fruit that's hanging out there, that's right there. It's a lot easier to dismiss that stuff than it is to learn it. Just like every dork coming up in the 1980s, in the 1990s, went to their Aikido class and went to their karate class. Not saying karate's bad or anything, but went to their no contact, no hard sparring, no nothing martial arts classes, and they dismissed wrestling. They dismissed boxing. They dismissed jiu-jitsu, because that shit is way harder to learn than it is to dismiss it. Exactly the things that we get nowadays with the pistol and the pistol shooting and the pistol craft. Everything that's kind of hard to, and it's really not even hard to learn, but it does take a certain amount of time and effort to learn all these different techniques. And it doesn't even matter if you learn the technique and you can articulate exactly why you don't like that technique, that's fine. But if you dismiss techniques without going balls deep, I ain't got time. I don't want to hear it. So, why do we run the pistol from the front? Well, it's a mathematical equation. Distance traveled by your hands in all these actions that we do to get back on the gun, and time elapsed, that's all that matters. Okay? Efficiency is doing the least amount possible to get the job done. Well, if I'm up and I need to reload this pistol, come back to my belt line, go back into the pistol, efficiency would tell us to hit the slide release. Well, in competition back in the day, and a lot of competition guns are not equipped with a magazine follower that holds a slide back. So slide release, reloads, slide lock, reloads, stuff like that are non-existent. So they had to look at what's the fastest, most efficient way to reload the gun and rack it. Now, most of the time you wouldn't have a empty gun unless you had a malfunction that you had to rack for, or you actually screwed up on your stage plan or whatever and you ran the gun empty. Anyway, you got to conduct a reload, right? Distance traveled, time elapsed, that's all that matters. Distance traveled with our hands. If we could measure the inches that our hands travel during this reload, it should come up, boom. Okay, this, ding, 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 back on, that's efficient. This is not. Ding, 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 back on. That would be way, way more movement. Ding, 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 back in. Way, way more movement. So they figured out, oh, if I just come up to the front of the gun, rack it like this, and come right back on, I'm not even hardly coming off the gun. Okay? So that's all that's the explanation for it in the competition world. Why it's bleeding over so much into the tactical world, one, we're seeing that pistol craft and pistol shooting is going to, higher and higher levels all the time, and we want to be faster and faster, even as carriers or whatever. So we're adopting more and more competition techniques, which is good, shows a lot of things. But these things right here. Okay, so I'm not a proponent of racking my gun off of the RMR. I get it, it will work. If I'm in a pinch, if I'm in a fight, if I'm in a situation where I need to do that, and that's the only thing that presents itself, I'm going to do that, okay? But I'm not going to continually beat up my sighting system just so that I can rack the gun when I can just as easily rack the gun from right here. And this pistol doesn't even have slide serrations. I just put a couple pieces of grip tape up here, and I never miss. Ding, ding, ding. I need to reload and come up. Okay, I have a high grip. Sometimes it catches on my slide release. I don't get a slide lock. Ding, ding, ding. Come in, reload, back. This affords me a lot of potential screw-ups. So I'm here, I come in, I need to rack. I'm grabbing a hold of this entire thing. Maybe I'm pushing buttons. Maybe I don't know, jacking up my zero. Maybe I get too much hand over the ejection port because on this particular Glock, the rounds come out, hit off the RMR, and go out. So that's going to do the same thing if I'm racking. And if I have my hand over this or slingshot, I mean, it's just a lot more stuff going on. So why not be nice and clean, ding, 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 cant the gun, throw it right here, and I'm over. It's fast this way. It's very simple to get used to. And, then you got guns like this Beretta. It does not like to be racked from behind or slingshotted. There's buttons, there's levers back here, there's shit you don't want to mess with. It has forward slide serrations and these scallops, and it really, really works awesome. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, there's a lot of merit to it. Do not dismiss it. That's all I'm saying. If you're stuck in your ways of doing it and you rack over the top, I got no beef with that. Slingshot, I like even better for myself. Left-handed guys, I always recommend a slingshot or run over the top in the front of the slide. But I got no beef with the way you do it as long as you can do it well, consistently, quickly. Just do not let anyone tell you always or never. Tactics are never wrong. They're just applied in the wrong time. Like, I heard a guy say that. I can't fucking remember who said that. But separate tactics and the way, and a technique is a tactic at a certain time, okay? There is a time to, rack your RMR off of something, off your chest, off your leg, anything. There is a time for that. That's a technique, but then it's also a tactic if it's in the situation that it needs to be. And tactics are never wrong. They're just applied at the wrong time. So one tactic could be the perfect setup at this time, but it's the absolute worst tactic to use at this time. So tactics are just a bunch of things. Applied in the right context at the right time, they are successful or unsuccessful. Techniques are the exact same thing. Let's get really good at manipulating pistols. Let's get really good at all of it, and then we can just use whatever you want. I don't like to say the whole tool in the toolbox thing because I just hear it so much that it's just starting to, but it is kind of true. So we just get really good at all the stuff, and then whenever we need something, we got it. You got it. That's why I say, get really good, and then you're just really good. That's it. Don't shoot people for no reason.